Have you ever wondered if there's still time to change your life? Brief pause. Is it still possible to start over after 60? To dream ... to reinvent yourself? Today, I want to make you a promise. Yes, there is still time. And this video could be the turning point you've been waiting for. This is an invitation, whether you're 60, 70, 80, or beyond. You're not alone on this journey. Many have come this far with doubts, fears, and yet they chose to take a step towards something new, something lighter, something truer, because it's never too late to rediscover yourself. It's never too late to start again with courage and with joy. Life isn't over, it's just beginning. In a different way. Stay with me until the end of this video. You'll discover 8 real, possible, and exciting ways to rediscover yourself after 60. Shall we go together? Accepting that time passes, and that it's liberating. Aging is a word that, for a long time, carried an unfair weight. For years, we were taught to fear time, as if every wrinkle were a defeat, as if every gray hair were a sign of loss. But today, I want to invite you to see time from a different angle as a gift, because accepting that time passes might actually be one of the most liberating acts of our lives. Time does take some things away, that's true, but it also gives. It brings the wisdom of someone who has seen a lot, who has suffered, who has cried, but also laughed until their stomach hurt. It offers us the chance to look back and understand what was worth it, and more importantly, what wasn't. And when we realize that, when we accept the passing years without resistance, we gain something that only comes with maturity, lightness. With time, we let go of the pressure to be who others expected us to be, the comparisons, the anxiety of chasing everything. We discover that we no longer need to prove anything to anyone. And that's when everything changes. The freedom that comes with age is quiet but profound. It's the freedom to say no without guilt, to say yes with courage, to live at your own pace, not in a hurry, but with purpose. I remember Donna Lucia, a woman I met in a community discussion group. She's 74 and spent much of her life taking care of others, her children, her husband, her home. She was always the one who said, "Let me handle it. I'll think about myself later." When she became a widow, she went through a very tough time. She cried alone at night, feeling useless, as if life had lost its meaning. But over time, she began to see a new reality. For the first time in decades, she could choose for herself. It wasn't easy, of course. There was fear, resistance, sadness, but there were also discoveries. She started painting simple things with colored pencils and plain paper. Then she began attending a local art studio. Today, she sells her paintings at city fairs and says she's never felt more alive. And she told me something I'll never forget. "I thought time had taken everything from me, but it was just making space for something new. I just had to stop fighting it." How many of us are still resisting time, clinging to youth as if it were the only phase that matters? But look, every stage has its beauty. Youth has strength, yes, but maturity has clarity. It has calm, it has patience. Today, maybe you can't do everything you could at 30, but what can you do with the eyes you have now? With the heart that has loved, suffered, and grown? Accepting time is like sitting by a river and realizing the current can't be stopped. But it doesn't need to be, because the beauty is in the flow. And when you stop swimming against it, you begin to be carried by something much greater, the wisdom of life. If you're listening to this now and feel like time has passed too quickly, take a breath. You haven't lost anything, you've lived. And if you've made it this far, it's because there are still paths to walk. Accepting time is accepting yourself. It's realizing that you no longer need to be yesterday's version, because today's version is already enough, already complete, already, in itself, a rich and precious story. And as long as there's life, there's still time to learn, to laugh, to start over. Time isn't the enemy, it's the teacher. And when you allow yourself to age with awareness, with presence, you finally understand age doesn't limit, it liberates. Rediscovering forgotten passions. How many things have you put off for later? How many desires were tucked away in the back of a drawer, wrapped in the paper of "I'll do it someday," "maybe later," or "now's not the right time"? The truth is, for a long time, life taught us to prioritize everything except ourselves. First came the kids, the job, the house, the responsibilities. And so, little by little, many passions faded into the background. But what no one may have told you is that they're still there, alive, just waiting for you to call them back. Rediscovering forgotten passions is like uncovering a part of yourself that had gone quiet. It didn't disappear, it just slept, like a seed waiting for the right time to bloom. And maybe that time is now. Maybe, long ago, you dreamed of learning the guitar, of sewing, of writing, of dancing, of traveling across the country. What if I told you there's still time? That these desires don't have to die with the calendar? That age doesn't kill the dream, it just removes the urgency of making it happen. I met Alfredo at a craft fair, a 68-year-old man with curious eyes and a wide smile. He told me that in his youth, he was passionate about woodworking. But life led him to an office, long hours, bills to pay, kids to raise. The workshop became a memory, and his passion a distant echo. Until, after retiring, he decided to build a small shelf for his grandkids. He dusted off his old tools, his hands shaky at first, but his heart warm. The shelf turned into a table. The table turned into a bench. And today, he sells wooden pieces that carry his soul. Every groove tells a piece of his story. I thought I'd forgotten how to do it, he told me. But it was like riding a bike. It was all still inside me, just waiting for a chance. And you know what's most beautiful about this? It's not about doing something grand. It's not about becoming a famous artist or making money from it. It's about reconnecting with what makes you happy, with what makes you smile for no reason. It's about allowing yourself to play again, to create, to imagine, to be free. Rediscovering a passion is reigniting a fire that warms you from the inside out. And that fire doesn't fade with time. It just needs to be nurtured with care. We spend so much time serving others that when there's finally space for ourselves, we don't even know what to do. So here's my advice: start small. Grab a blank notebook, buy some watercolors, listen to that old song again, bake the cake from your childhood. Write a letter, even if you never send it. Take small steps, but take them. Because when you move toward yourself, life responds. You don't need permission to be happy, and you don't need to be perfect. In fact, the more imperfect, the more human, the more real. What matters is to feel like you're finally doing something for you. Not out of duty, not out of obligation, but out of joy. So, if there's a passion sleeping inside you, wake it up. Talk to it. Give it space, even if timidly, even if uncertainly. The time is now yours. You don't have to postpone it anymore. Because reclaiming an old dream is more than an act of love. It's a reunion with your essence. And that reunion can change everything. The importance of emotional health. Have you ever stopped to think about your emotional health? I'm not just talking about being okay or not feeling sadness. I mean something deeper. The quiet that lives inside, the pain no one sees, the thoughts that keep coming back during sleepless nights. For a long time, we learned to take care of our bodies, take medicine, get checkups, keep the heart beating. But little was said about what holds everything together inside. Our emotions. In our later years, emotional health becomes even more important. Because while the body may not move as fast as before, the mind remains active and sometimes too restless. That's when the ghosts appear, longing that tightens your chest, old guilt, grief left unprocessed, loneliness disguised as routine. It's common to feel this way, even if no one talks about it. The world doesn't prepare us for this time of silence and depth. But I'm here to tell you, you don't have to face it alone. Taking care of your emotional health is an act of courage. It's looking inward and embracing what's there, even if it's uncomfortable. It's allowing yourself to feel without judgment, to cry when you need to speak when you want to take a deep breath and say, I deserve peace. Because you do. Because after everything you've lived through, you've already proven your strength. Now maybe it's time to discover the gentleness in that strength. The other day, I met Clarice, a 71-year-old woman, strong and resilient, the kind who never complains. But after a long conversation, she confessed something she'd carried. For years, the pain of never having said goodbye to her mother the way she wanted. She carried guilt, resentment, a knot in her throat that never loosened. It wasn't until she was 70 that she allowed herself to talk about it in a listening circle with other women her age. She told me, I thought it was too late to deal with this, but I found that speaking healed me more than time ever did. And now, after so much silence, she's the one comforting others. Because when we heal something in ourselves, we make space to heal others too. You don't have to go through this alone. Talking to a therapist, a support group, a true friend can change everything. Sometimes all the soul needs is someone who will listen without rushing, a hug without judgment, a safe space where you can be exactly who you are, with all your stories, scars, and emotions. And here's something important that few people say. Feeling sadness at any age is not weakness, it's human. What's not okay is living trapped in it, as if there's no way out. There's life after loss. There's peace after pain. But to get there, you have to allow yourself to feel, and then let go. A simple practice that can help is mindful breathing. Close your eyes for a moment. Breathe in deeply. Hold it for a bit, and release slowly. Do this a few times. It may seem small, but it helps calm the storm inside. You don't have to fix everything today. You just need to be present. 1 day at a time. Emotional health is like a garden. It needs care, time, patience, and above all, attention. Don't forget yourself. Don't always put your feelings at the back of the line. You've taken care of so many people. Now it's your turn. Your soul deserves comfort, rest, listening, and love. Aging with health is more than walking, seeing, and hearing. It's being at peace with who you are, and that peace starts within. It starts the moment you choose to treat yourself with more kindness. And that, my friend, can start right now. Starting over in work or purpose. Maybe you've already closed a professional chapter. Maybe you've been retired for years, or you're just starting to consider this new phase. And in the quiet after the rush of routine, a restless question might arise. Now what? What's my place in the world? What was once defined by schedules, job titles, and obligations suddenly gives way to more free time, but also more emptiness. This is where many people get lost. But it's also where many rediscover themselves. Starting over in work or purpose doesn't necessarily mean going back to what you did before. It means making space for a new way to serve, to contribute, to feel useful. Because human beings need meaning. We need to feel like we still belong, that we still have something to offer. And yes, after 60, 70, 80, you still have so much to give. The idea that work is only for the young is a cruel myth. Because what you might lack in physical stamina, you make up for in wisdom, patience, and clarity. I've met people who started new projects at 65, who tutored, who opened small businesses, who became volunteers, who began writing books, giving talks, tending community gardens. And the most beautiful part? They didn't do it for money. They did it because they found meaning. Take Geraldo, for example. He was an accountant his whole life, serious, precise, methodical. When he retired, he felt unmoored. He spent his days watching TV, listless, until a neighbor invited him to help kids struggling with math at a local nonprofit. At first, he was hesitant, but within 2 weeks, the spark was back in his eyes. He realized he wasn't just teaching numbers. He was connecting. He was offering his best: attention, patience, presence. "I thought my time of usefulness was over," he told me. But really, it had just changed shape. Purpose isn't some grand, unattainable mission. Often, it's something simple that makes your heart sing. It could be growing plants and giving away seedlings, writing letters to lonely people, helping other seniors with technology, sharing stories. All of this has value. All of this is soul work. But here's the thing. Starting over doesn't mean returning to the frantic pace of before. It's not about burning out again. It's about aligning what you do with how you feel. It's about being fully present in what you choose. Now, with more freedom, you can choose more consciously. You can say no to what doesn't matter. You can say yes only to what truly nourishes you. And if you're sitting there thinking, "But I don't know where to start," start by asking yourself, what have I always loved doing but never had time for? When do I feel most alive? What kind of help would I like to offer the world? Sometimes the answer lies in the simplest things: listening, caring, teaching, creating, helping, being present. You're not obsolete. You're in transition. And in that transition lies the chance to turn your experience into purpose, to transform what you've lived into something that inspires, moves, and touches others. Life at 60, 70, or beyond doesn't have to be just about resting. It can also be about discovering, serving with lightness, choice, and awareness. And above all, with joy. Because there's no true purpose without joy. And when you find that place, whether in a new occupation, volunteer work, or a simple daily gesture, everything changes. You wake up with intention. You feel like you belong. And more than anything, you realize that the time you have left, however uncertain, could be the most fulfilling of your life. Rebuilding connections, family, friendships, love. As the years pass, many things change, but few as deeply as our relationships. People drift in different directions. Some pull away, others leave. Sometimes, life itself nudges us into a quiet loneliness we learn to disguise. Conversations become rare, visits dwindle, and contact with children, grandchildren, siblings, friends feels scarcer than it should. But here's a truth you might need to hear. It's never too late to rebuild bonds. Never too late to reconnect, to draw closer, to love again. Sometimes we wait for others to take the first step. But what if the bridge that's missing is the one you need to start building? It doesn't matter how much time has passed. It doesn't matter how many silences or misunderstandings there have been. What matters is that as long as there's life, there's still a chance to come back together. Not to pretend nothing happened, but to choose from now on a new way of being close. I met Teresa, 69, who went nearly a decade without speaking to her daughter. A misunderstanding, pride on both sides, harsh words. She told me that every year on her daughter's birthday, she wrote a letter, but never sent it. She kept them all in a drawer, along with the hurt and longing. Until one day, on impulse, she decided to call. Her voice shook. Her daughter answered warily, but Teresa was honest. She apologized without excuses. She said she just wanted to start over. And in that brief call, they began mending what time had worn thin. Today, they not only talk every day, they take care of each other with affection, mistakes, and truth. And this doesn't just apply to family. It applies to old friendships, neighbors you've lost touch with, that friend who once meant so much but stayed in the past. It also applies to forming new bonds. Yes, you can make new friends at 70, 80, 90. There's no age limit on opening your heart to others. The heart doesn't age, it just needs space to trust again. Of course, rebuilding connections takes humility. Sometimes you have to yield, listen, hold space for the other's pain and your own. But it's a path of healing. Because relationships are what give life color. We weren't made to live alone. And love, even when it feels distant, is a road that circles back. Always. You can start today. Send a message, make a call, invite someone for coffee. Say, I missed you. Say, let's talk. Be the first to reach out. Even if the response isn't what you hoped, you'll know you did your part. And that alone changes things. And if your blood family isn't around, create a new family of choice. Join groups, circles, gatherings. Visit your neighborhood cultural center. Take a class, join a choir, sit in on a discussion group. People attract people. And when you allow yourself to connect again, loneliness loosens its grip. Rebuilding bonds is an act of courage. But it's also an act of love for yourself and others. Because no one truly grows old when surrounded by care. A touch, a hug, shared laughter, the quiet presence of someone who listens. All of this heals more than any medicine. If a bond was broken, know that it can be repaired. If a loved one drifted away, they can come close again. And if they don't, others will. You're not doomed to isolation. You deserve love, companionship, someone to listen. And yes, you can start fresh here too. The heart doesn't have an expiration date. It just needs a chance. And sometimes that chance begins with a simple, hey, I'd like to talk. How many times in the rush of life have you forgotten to celebrate your victories? How many times have you thought only grand, remarkable, visible achievements were worth celebrating? But here's the thing. Most of life's victories don't come in the form of trophies. They come in silenced fears overcome. In mornings when, even exhausted, you chose to get up anyway. They come in the decision to keep going, even when everything seemed determined to stop you. The truth is, by the time you reach your later years, you've already collected dozens, maybe hundreds of small victories. And it's time to honor them, to recognize them as part of your legacy. To look back not with guilt or regret, but with pride. Because you made it this far. And that alone is a tremendous feat. Every challenge you faced, every tear you wiped away, every loss you survived, every step forward after the pain is proof of your strength. Even if no one applauded you, even if no one noticed, you know, you remember, you lived it. It's time to recognize the beauty of your own story. Not some perfect story, the real one. With its flaws, its pauses, its twists, and yes, its miracles. Because simply being here is a miracle, a privilege. And you earned it with courage. So why not celebrate the small things? That day you cooked something delicious just for yourself. The walk you took alone and returned from smiling. The book you finally finished. The forgiveness you dared to offer. The phone call you made after so long. The no you said without guilt. The doctor's appointment you scheduled. The test you faced. The fear you pushed through. These are all victories. This is life unfolding in its most intimate, honest form. Learn to applaud yourself in silence. To look in the mirror and say, I'm proud of me. You don't need outside validation. The greatest recognition comes from the peace of knowing that, despite everything, you're still here, heart open, body present, soul intact. And more than that, acknowledging your story is a gift to the world. When you share what you've lived, what you've learned, what you've overcome, you inspire. You guide. You become a light for those just starting out. Your story matters. It isn't small. It's yours. And it deserves to be told, celebrated, respected. It might feel strange at first, but start practicing this new perspective. Every time you do something that takes emotional effort, celebrate it. Every act of self-care, kindness, or fresh start celebrate. You're not just passing days. You're creating new meaning for them. And that, my friend, is more than enough reason to smile with a full heart. In maturity, we no longer need grand achievements to feel fulfilled. We just need truth, meaning, and gratitude. And all of that begins with the simple act of honoring your own journey, step by step, with all it carries. Remember, your life is valuable, your path is rich, and you deserve to recognize it with the same respect and tenderness you'd give to the story of someone you love. Because you deserve that love, too, from yourself to yourself.